Good evening, Pastor David Foster, Pastor City of Faith Christian Center. Look, I hope that you have been tuning in to our series, Faith and Theirs. I'm telling you, it's been a blessing. It's been, man, something that we have all needed, and it's been great. It's been great. Gonna use a lot of words, lit, off the chain, depending on what era you're from. But I'm telling you, God has met us each and every broadcast. So look, make sure you go back and check it out. Make sure you go back and listen to it. And while you're at it, look, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Connect with us, tap in with all of our various other social media platforms. It's of most importance that you do that, because I'm telling you, this is the hour where we really need faith. So much is happening, so much is transpiring, so much is occurring in the world around us. And it's going to be our faith that's going to allow us to be able to navigate through these. I don't want to say difficult, but through these challenging seasons that are up ahead, right? Talked about being a faith in there. And a faith in there is simply this. We've said this, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's very important that you know this. A faith in there is a person that lives a life with what? With no limits, right? A person that lives a life with no limits. So I'm going to talk about having faith with no limits tonight. Faith with no limits, right? I'm going to be in Luke 8:43 through 48. And I'm going to be in the King James Version. I'm going to be in the King James. Just want to really pull out a couple of things here. And so if you're listening, tag somebody, share this with them. You can copy it, paste it, email it out. Look, we definitely appreciate it. Faith with no limits. And it says there's a woman having an issue of blood 12 years, which has spent all of her living upon physicians. Neither could be healed of any. Came behind and touched the border of his garment, right? Now, this lady, she spent money for 12 years in a row. Well, that lets you know what type of money she had, right? And not only that lets you know what type of money she had, what does that let you know? That knows that she had some bills, that she may have had some outstanding invoices. And so I speak to anybody right now that got outstanding bills and invoices. Guess what? Jesus is on the case. And better than that, Jesus is on the way. Look at this. But neither she could be healed of any, right? Came behind him being Jesus, and touched the border of his garment. And immediately her issue of blood stank or stopped. And Jesus said, "Who touched me?" When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, "Master, the multitude throng thee and press thee, and sayest thou, Who touched me? And Jesus says, somebody has touched me, for I perceive that virtue or power has gone out of me, right? And when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling and falling down before him. She declared unto him before all the people. Look, she already given her testimony, right? First given unto God, who is the head of my life. Look, she is already testifying. It says she declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good cheer, or be of good comfort. Thy faith had made thee whole. Go in peace, right? So I want to zero in and read on verse 48 and talk about faith with no limits. Faith with no limits, right? It says, he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith had made thee whole. Go in peace, right? Look, he didn't say my faith. No, he said thy faith. In other words, if you're in a situation, in a circumstance, or you are in a place where You need God to show up. And look, truth be told, look, we all need God to show up. Guess what? It's not going to be God's faith that's going to get you out of this situation. It will be your faith. Right? If you're going to receive anything from God, it's going to be based on your faith and not God's faith. See, God's faith is unlimited. God's faith has no limits, no boundaries, no restrictions on it. But even though God's faith is unlimited, guess what? It cannot help you if you're unwilling to help yourself. So you got to be willing to help yourself. I'm telling you, because God, He has the faith to get you out of that situation. But guess what? He's also given, the Bible says, everybody or every man a measure of faith, right? Or all mankind has faith, right? As I talked about last week, that the problem is a lot of us have tools, but we have tools that we don't know how to use, right? People got to have a tool to be able to put. Let's say somebody is building a house. You're gonna have all the tools in your house to build a house, right? Or you can have all the tools necessary to work on a car, right? But that doesn't mean that you know how to use the tools. That's good, skillfully enough to get the desired result. And the problem, I believe, with a lot of us as believers is we have faith, but nobody has taught us how to skillfully use our faith. See, faith is the hand. I say this, but faith is the hand that reaches into the unseen world and brings it back into the seen. Faith is the hand that reaches into the spirit world and brings it into the natural. Watch this. I love this one. Faith is the hand that reaches into the unlimited world. Guess what? And then it brings it back into the world with limits. But what does that do? That causes a faith explosion, or that causes a miracle to take place, or that causes a sign or a wonder, right? It causes the miraculous to take place. It causes heaven to come down and meet earth, right? Because anytime you're pulling the unlimited into the natural world, guess what? It's going to be something miraculous happen. And I'm telling you today, look, something miraculous happened for this lady, this woman with the issue of blood. Why? Because she had faith with no limits. There were all type of limits that they were trying to place on her. They were trying to place cultural limits on her. They were trying to place societal limits on her. They were trying to place religious limits on her. They were trying to place even gender limits on her, right? But guess what? This lady, she persevered and she allowed her faith to be a tool that she knew how to use. And she said, look, I tried everything else. I tried the doctors. I tried my money. I tried to try my influence. I tried everything I know how to try. But guess what? Now I'm going to try my faith, and I'm going to put my faith in Jesus. Look, I believe this lady ran in the same circles with Mary Magdalene and Susanna and all of them. If you look back up at the top of this, the beginning of Luke chapter 8, you will see that these women were women who had supported Jesus' ministry. And just plain and simple, they were Jesus' ministry partners, right? Because the Bible says that they were financially well off and they supported him with their substance. And so, birds of a feather flock together. And this lady, she had some kind of money to be able to go from doctor to doctor, city to city, town to town to try to find a cure for 12 years. Look, so I believe she ran in that same circles, and that's how she heard of Jesus. Look, is the circle you're running in talking about Jesus? That's good. That's good right there. Look, do you hear about Jesus? That's good. Do you hear about Jesus in your circle or outside of your circle? Look, maybe you need to find a new circle. Look, I'm telling you, look, because look, it's the circle you in is going to determine the circumstance that you're able to get out of. Oh, that's good. Yeah, the circle you're in is going to determine the circumstances that you're able to get out of, right? And so God's faith is unlimited. And even though God's faith has no limits, somebody say no limits. you're going to still need to use your own faith, right? Look at 48. Look what it says. It says, he says to her, thy faith. Yep. Not grandma's faith. Well, that's good. Not your husband's faith. No. Not your preachers or pastors' faith. No. Because a lot of y'all got faith in the preachers and pastors, but not in the prophet. No. He said who? He said your faith has made you whole. And I declare and decree, look, that you will have the type of faith that will cause you to be made whole. Look, she was already healed in the verse 44. She was already healed. It said that the blood stopped. But guess what? She said, no, that's not enough. Somebody said it's not enough. See, when faith is on a thing, faith does not know how to act. Faith is a rule breaker. Faith is a bulldozer. Faith is a spiritual bullet, right? Faith is a pit bull. Faith is a wild man. Faith will it goes off the chain. See, favor. We often say this, that laws are changed for me, rules are rearranged for me because of the favor of God, right? And that's what favor does. But guess what faith does? Faith don't care about none of that. Faith is a bulldozer. Faith just come in and break rules, right? Faith breaks down walls, right? Faith comes in and faith uses a stone to kill a 10-foot giant. Your faith will cause you to have sweet sleep while you're in the midst of a den of lions. See, faith will cause you to go in the fire and you'll come out smelling not like smoke. Faith will cause you to walk on water when men says it was impossible. Faith will turn you into a water walker, a tongue talker, a demon slayer, and a generational curse breaker. Faith is unlimited, and faith does not know how to do anything. But one thing faith does know how to do is this: faith knows how to get results. And how does faith do that? Faith does that by pleasing God, right? Say my aim is to please God, right? Your aim ought to be to please God, right? There are a lot of people in life that we try to please, and rightfully so. But I'm telling you, don't please all of these other people and not please God, right? Don't have these people in the forefront of your mind and have God in the rear of your mind. No, you have to believe God for who He is. And this is what the woman did with the issue of blood, right? The woman with the issue of blood recognized that when she saw Jesus, she didn't just see Jesus, right? Guess what else she saw? She saw her source and she saw her supply. See, she just didn't see her supply. No, she said, no, this is also my source. What does that mean? See, source is where I'm going to get it from. Supply is what I'm going to get, right? See, a lot of people say, oh, I know what I want, right? But guess what? You don't know where to get it from. Or you're like they say, you're looking for love in all the wrong places, right? You're looking for a miracle. You're looking for an answer to your question, right? You're looking for a solution to your problem in all the wrong places. Jesus is the source of all of your solutions. I'm telling you, she went right to the source, right? You got to go right to the source, right? Because that's where the power is. Oh, that's good. Right? If you're trying to get power in your house and you don't get, we need to power these lights on, guess what? We need to go to the source. We need to get plugged in. And the problem is a lot of people, we're not plugged in into the right source. No, we've been plugged in into the wrong source, and you wonder why you were getting no power. Sometimes, we had this house, right? A new house you moved into, and the circuit kept tripping, or the circuit breaking the switch kept flipping off, right? Because there was so much power going through it and it couldn't contain it, right? And so we had to make sure that we was plugged in, right? And so what it did was when the power go off, right, everything stopped working. I'm preaching good right there. When the power go off, guess what? Everything will stop working, right? And we be like, and you immediately know, right, that something is wrong, right? And so when the power went off, that's good, right? When the power went off, when the breaker went off, guess what? We didn't go and check the plug. No, because we knew that. Look, we're plugged in, but guess what? We need to go to the source, right? We need to find out where the source is, and that's what a lot of people are. We say, "Look, I'm plugged in, but guess what? I'm not getting no power, right?" So maybe you're not plugged into the right source, or guess what? The source you're plugged into, right, is not a source that is producing enough power. And so guess what? We had to get everything rewired and so it can sustain, right, what needed to be plugged into it, right? And so that's one thing you have to worry about when you with God, when you are connected to Jesus, right? When you're plugged in, you can be rest assured, or you can rest assured that guess what? Jesus has enough power to supply your need, right? This lady, he said, look, virtue went out of me, or power went out of me. He's healed. Jesus immediately recognized that. That's good. Think about this. The the power didn't come out until the need showed up. Look, when you present, the reason why some of you have not accessed the power because you have not presented your need to Jesus, right? And guess what this lady did? She had enough faith to press through. Everybody telling her what to do. This doctor giving her advice. This friend giving her advice, right? But then somebody said, look, you need to go see Jesus. I'm telling you. And when you see Jesus, guess what? He'll solve all of your needs, right? Look, see, many people have their faith in limited sources, right? Or limited supplies, right? And they have their faith in natural sources or natural supplies, which means that when your time comes or when you have a need, guess what? That source or supply, it may just not be available to you, right? I remember years ago during COVID, they were giving out a lot of money through various government programs, and people was like, I need to apply before the money runs out, right? I need to apply before the supply runs out. But guess what? One thing about being connected to God, you never have to worry about the supply running out, right? Why? Philippians 4:19 tells us that, look, my God will supply all of my need. Psalms 23 tells us that the Lord is your shepherd and you shall not want. Look, whatever you have need of, whatever you want, you can rest assured that God is able to supply all of your need, right? And so they that they look to natural and limited sources, natural and limited uh, uh, supplies, right? But you got to be connected to an unlimited supply, right? When you're connected to God, you're connected to Him. There's an unlimited supply of whatever you need, right? When the lady reached out to touch Jesus' garment, she didn't have to go through a multiple choice question. She didn't have to say, "Oh, let me get this or this." No, you can. He said you can have this and that. That's good, right? See, you've been plugged into the wrong source. You've been plugged into a source that's making you choose whether you're gonna have this or that, right? But I'm telling you right now, I prophesy to you that you enter into a season where you're gonna have this and that, right? You can have whatever you like. Why? Because I'm telling you, look, you're connected to God, and God is going to supply all of your needs. As a matter of fact, I prophesy that you enter into a season of no limits. Somebody say no limits. See, this lady, she was a faith in there. She lived life with no limits. She went past cultural limits. Look, the culture and society says, look, you're not supposed to be outside. Why you have this particular ailment, why you have this particular sickness, why you're fighting this particular disease. No, you're not supposed to be outside. She said, no, my faith is telling me I need to be outside. Why? Because I have the type of faith that has no limits. My faith pushes past cultural limits. My faith pushes past racial limits. See, you can't be boxed in based on your race. A lot of people ain't like that. You can't be boxed in based on your culture. No, see, the culture that, see, you're trying to live a kingdom life based on a worldly culture. You're trying to become part of a, or you're trying to become part of something that doesn't fit into the other, right? You're part of the kingdom race, right? You're part of the kingdom culture, right? You can't allow American culture to dictate what happens in the kingdom. It doesn't work like that. No, because what happens in the kingdom, right, it should dictate what happens in America, right? Right? That's what should happen, right? But if it, even if it doesn't happen like that in America, guess what? It should happen in your life, because guess what? You are in this world, but you're not of this world, right? You are a stranger, you're a pilgrim, you're on a journey, right? Heaven is your home. The kingdom of God is your home. That is your culture. And the more we realize that as Christians and believers, then we can really see the power of God show up in our lives like never before. That's why Jesus was operating the way he operated. That's why Jesus did what he did. That's why Jesus was going about and he was able to heal the sick, right? Raise the dead, cast out devils. Why? Because he said, look, I come from a place where none of this exists, right? You got to understand that limits are illegal in heaven. See, there are no limits in heaven, right? Everything is unlimited, right? Everything is mature, right? That's a better word. How do I know that? When God created Adam, he didn't create him as a baby. Adam didn't go through a gestation period, right? No, Adam became here as a grown man. Why? Because Adam came directly out of the spirit world. And since he came directly out of the spirit world, guess what happened? Now everything out of the spirit world is unlimited, or it's mature, right? Or it's already fully grown, right? Or it's fully blossomed or developed. That's a better word, right? And what I'm telling you is that when you get to that point, see, we're trying to get we're trying to our spirit and our soul to catch up with one another, because our spirit is fully developed, right? Our spirit is fully blossomed. Our spirit is 100% like God. But now we got to get our soul to line up. That's why Paul said, look, we must be renew our mind daily. We must be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And when we do that, when we start to think a different way, right? The scripture says, as a man thinketh, what? So is he. When we learn to think kingdom thoughts, then we can begin to live a kingdom life. And a kingdom life is a life that's lived by faith. That's all I can say, right? You have to live by faith, right? It's a faith life, right? The just shall live by faith. Without faith, it is impossible to please him. And I'm telling you, you have the potential to tap into the spirit world with your faith, and your faith can cause you to live an unlimited life. You can live an unlimited life by living by faith, right? Psalm 78:41 says that, look, they tempted God. They limited the Holy One of Israel, right? Don't limit God. See, you tempt God by limiting him, right? You handcuff God by not using your faith, right? He wants you to access and use your faith to its full potential. Because I'm telling you, faith can cause anything to happen. How do we know that? The scripture we said that without faith, it is impossible to please God. What does it mean? Right? Not so much, don't focus on you sinning or you not sinning or you doing this or you not doing that. No, focus on this. Faith makes the impossible impossible. That's good to me every time I say it. Faith makes the impossible possible, right? Think about it in this aspect. Think about it in this light. That faith makes the impossible possible, right? You say, well, I don't know how I'm gonna stop drinking. See, faith makes the impossible possible. I don't know how I'm gonna stop smoking, right? I didn't know how. Before I can say, I did not know how I was going to stop smoking dope. I did not know. I had no clue. I was in my wits end, right? But guess what? Faith makes the impossible possible. I didn't know how I was going to stop fornicating. Look, I know one of the greatest things God ever did was made a woman. Look, I'm here to testify. Look, but I'm telling you, look, I did not know how I was going to stop fornicating. But guess what happened? Faith makes the impossible possible. Whatever it is, right? See, because a lot of times we'll be thinking of in the realm or the category of saying it's impossible for me to get a house, right? And it may be true, right? It's impossible for me to get a job, and it may be true, right? And I believe that faith can cause you to access all of those things, right? But what about those who struggling with sexual sin, those who struggling with sexual immorality, those who struggling with identity crisis, those who are struggling with drug addiction, right? Those who are struggling with living an alternative life, those who want to get out of the life that they're in and come into this new life that they're living now. They say, I don't see a way out. I'm here to tell you today, look, the way out is Jesus. And it may sound simple, or it may sound cliche, or it may sound like it can't be that easy, or I don't know if that. See, you gotta stop saying that, because now you're canceling out your faith with doubt, with unbelief, right? And I'm telling you, faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? What are you hoping for? Are you hoping for a new life? Are you hoping for a changed life? Are you hoping for a transformed mind? Right? See, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence, oh, that's good, of things not seen. See, you've not seen yourself, yeah, that's good, living a new life. You've not seen yourself living a clean life. You've not seen yourself living a holy life, right? Look, I'm telling you, grace is not a license to sin. No, grace is a license to win. And when you understand that grace is empowering you rather than grace is causing you to be empowered rather than causing you to cower, right? Grace is not causing you to hide and be in fear and causing you to run away. No, grace gives you the ability to fight your problems head on, right? And when you have faith and believe that the life that you have not seen is possible, right? The fact that it's impossible lets you know it's possible. How? By faith. Look, I hope this encourages somebody. Look, I hope that bless somebody. But look, you are able to live a life with no limits. You can live it by faith. Look, until next time, look, hope to see you soon. Make sure you subscribe. Tap in with us. Make sure you turn your post notifications on so you can hear what we're talking about next week. I'll be talking about Rich Faith Part 3. I really want to get back into that. But until then, see you soon. God bless. Peace out.